Hi, this is Kelly and Heather with Real Conversations with Kelly, and we have a special guest this week, Janet Trowbridge. So excited. I've known Janet for a very, very, very long time, many, many decades. And she has been experiencing shifting, moving, things that are happening in her life that she's like, oh, yes. Let's see what's happening here. So, hi, Janet. How are you?
Hey Kelly, I'm great. Hi Heather.
Hello, hello. Thanks for coming and joining us tonight. We're
Absolutely.
so excited to have you and hear of your little experiences that have been happening because, we all got some stuff happening in our lives, and we thought it would be a perfect opportunity for you to share yours.
Well, thank you. Yeah, it's strange when there's this much movement and shifting in your 60s.
Oh, hey.
It's
Nobody
not
said,
something you really expect in your 60s. It's you think this is something that I'll do when I'm young, not epiphanies hitting you in your 60s.
well,
It's
wouldn't
not
you say
about the
though that you
age.
know yourself better now?
I do, and it in the
Hmm.
strangest ways.
Yeah. So I think whenever it happens, 20s, 30s, 40s, let's face it, 20s and 30s, we're too busy. We got kids and jobs and some of us husbands, some of us ex-husbands. We got busy stuff. And so honestly,
Rotating through the
right, we're just rotating. It's just rotation. But it happens when it happens. So tell us a little bit about you. Where'd you grow up?
I was born in Dallas. Anybody that's from the Dallas Fort Worth area that's my age or our age, I was born at Baylor, Dallas, which so was almost everybody else my age in this area. I was actually adopted at 5 days old.
Oh, wow, I didn't know that.
Yes, I was adopted when I was 5 days old. I don't know my birth parents. I've never looked for them. I just haven't. Um, Grew up in Garland, Texas, that big happening town, the land of Gar.
Mm.
Um, Grew up in Garland. I with my mom and dad, and then they had my sister when I was 4, and she was their natural child.
Okay.
Um, when I was, it was a, it was a different household. My mom, the best way that I can describe her is just a very angry little person.
Okay.
Um, and she and my dad divorced when I was 7, and she was just very angry and bitter, and as I've come to later find out, and I'm not going to diagnose, but a lot of narcissistic tendencies
Hmm.
that I didn't realize when I was growing up. I just thought she was mean, especially to me. She seemed to take a lot of her anger at my dad out on me a lot. She remarried my stepfather when I was 10. And it's a weird dynamic. It was two couples that used to hang around together, my mom and dad, and then Jack and Gail. And my mom and Jack married. Right, I know. Um, so my stepbrother and sister, we had known each other our whole lives. We'd grown up together, we'd known each other forever. Um, my dad and Gail remained friends, but never really dated or anything. Um, my dad remarried right around when I was 13 to a lady named Jennifer. We had a lot of J's.
Mm.
I'm the third Janet in a row. My dad was Jim. My sister was Jennifer. My stepmom was Jennifer. My dad was Jack. His son was Jack. Yeah, it was a lot. There was a lot of J's. Lots of J's. It was a lot. I stopped that. I stopped that immediately. Um, but my father passed away when I was 13
Oh, wow.
from a heart attack. It was very sudden, right after he and my stepmom had married. Um, Found out later in life after my mom passed and we were going through her paperwork that my dad was trying to get custody of me.
Oh, really?
when he passed, because my mom was so abusive to me. And I'm not, I mean, yeah, it was just, and I believe there was, well, I know there was also some alcoholism there, smokers. My stepdad was a raging alcoholic, and he was either like the coolest alcoholic in the world or completely psycho. Like, you kind of didn't really know what you were going to get when you got home. You're like, okay, let's see where we are when we get home. Um, my mom was very much the same way. You just kind of walked on eggshells. I was always in trouble for all the things. I never did anything right. Constantly criticized, just that kind of thing. Like, nothing I ever did was good enough or right enough, or yeah. And there were times that I'd feel like I had exaggerated this, but then my girlfriends that had been there my whole life, my stepbrother and sister, they're all like, oh no, she absolutely just was just not, there wasn't love. My dad, there was a lot of love. I'm very sad that my sister was so young that she didn't know him.
Mm.
Do you know what I mean? Very sad about that, because there was a lot of love with my dad. Yeah, super. He was just the nicest man. And, yeah. And my mom just wasn't. And it makes me sad for her that she just, now looking back, that she was just such a mad little angry human. Went to high school. I went to TCU because that's where she insisted that I go. I did not want to be there. I didn't know anybody that was going to be there. Didn't really want to go. But that's the only place that she would let me go. She threw all my other acceptance letters away. Because the lady down the street, who she always felt like she was in competition with, her daughter did not get accepted, but I did. So therefore I was going. It was this competition. Yeah. Didn't want to be there. When the summer after I graduated high school, I was already accepted into TCU. I left home and went and spent the summer in Virginia, New Jersey with my dad's family, with uncles and aunts that I had never really known. And then when I came home, my mom actually sued me for support while I was growing up. Right. So that's the kind of person that she was. And I wouldn't have believed it. There are things that I thought, did I make this up?
Yeah.
And then we found the paperwork after she passed, and we were going through her stuff, and it devastated my sister. She had no idea.
Hmm.
And I was
You
like,
were how old at the time that she was trying to?
18.
18.
I just turned 18. So when I went off to TCU, I went off untethered
Mm-hmm.
with what was left of my dad's estate. Yeah, bad. That was bad. Um, so yeah, I did a lot of, looking back, hindsight being 2020, a lot of trying to buy friends. If I have the right clothes, if I have the right car, if I have the right this, if I have the right that. I partied too much. I spent too much money. I did stupid things. I ended up coming home and staying with my stepmother.
Mm.
Not my mother, my stepmother. And then went through all that process, and I went to Richland Junior College for a while, because when I was at TCU, I was like, I don't even want to be here. Like, I really don't. I mean, not gonna lie, I did have fun. I had a great time. I was actually shockingly popular when I was there, which was wild, just because I was a crazy person, but always have been. But yeah, so yeah, I misbehaved a lot. I sought approval and attention in a lot of the wrong places, looked a lot for approvals. This carried into adulthood. So should we segue there? Yeah. A lot of it carried on into adulthood, with like trying to feel like I always had to wear the right thing. And if I didn't have the right clothes, people weren't going to like me. And I, yeah, spent a lot of money that I shouldn't have spent. And again, unhealthy relationships. My first marriage was unhealthy, bless us. We fought the whole 5 years we dated. Why on earth we got married, I have no idea. But I have Trevor from that, and now Lulu because of that, so I wouldn't trade it. And that ended in a relatively quick divorce. I think we were married 2.5 years. Yeah. And then I was a single mom for a really long time. I was in the apartment business, which is where I met Kelly.
Oh, okay.
I had landed in the apartment business, and I actually did pretty well. Um, in the apartment business, kind of moved my way up the ranks. I had Trevor. I met my second ex-husband during that path. My second misfortune. No, not a misfortune. I had two beautiful kids from him too. So my second failed judgment. How's that? My picker was very, very broken. And why, but the one thing that I will give Todd, other than the fact that we have two beautiful children, is the fact that he got me back into church. Now, his reason for going to church was all about appearance. He was a coach and teacher. It was very much about how he appeared. Like, he was very much about how he appeared. Kelly knows this. Very much about outward appearance. Um, and I was probably at that point, a little bit of a trophy wife for him. And we had two beautiful kids. I realized the closer I got to God and the further I got on my faith journey, the more that I realized that I'd married my mother. Very much so. I had married my mother. The personality was absolutely my mother. He said things to me like, after Brighton was born and I'm sitting in a chair nursing my child, and he said, "I'm not attracted to you because of your weight," like that kind of thing. I was like, "Oh, all righty. Aren't you special?" Right. So that kind of thing. That marriage ended. I don't know if you want me to go into that at all, Kelly. It's a lot. Yeah, we won't touch that. It just ended.
We can keep that there.
Right. He just made some really bad decisions that affected our entire family. And so again, I found myself as a single mom. At that time, I was also taking care of my mother who was dying. That's a whole nother epiphany moment. Who had started having seizures and had what appeared to be dementia. And we went to, I hadn't been to church in forever. And one Sunday I went and I was like, why am I doing this? She wouldn't do this for me. She was never there for me. Why am I putting myself through trying to be at her bedside all the time and keeping up with her? And I had not been to church in weeks and weeks and weeks. And I was pregnant with Brighton, I think. Yeah, I think I was pregnant with Brighton. And I went to church and I sat down. I went to the very back, which was not usual. We were very active in that church, which Todd did not like, that I had become very active in that church. And at church, he was getting known as Janet's husband, I wasn't Coach's wife. He was becoming Janet's husband, and he did not like that at all. But that particular week, I went and I sat in church, and the pastor had been doing a series on the 10 Commandments. What do you think that week was? Honor thy father and mother.
Ah.
And I went, okie doke. Alrighty, God, I hear you. And the next Monday, we reached out to some attorneys for me to become her medical guardian. I'd been fighting it. A lot of
responsibility.
It was a lot of responsibility, but I felt like it was my job. That's it, to honor God and to honor my commitment. I needed to honor my mother, so I became her medical guardian. She passed during the whole situation with Todd. And I had been in property management and also in residential real estate with a custom home builder. When I kind of priced myself out of property management. I'd salary capped myself out of property management that didn't involve traveling, and I had Trevor, and so I couldn't. So I worked for a custom home builder. Well, I knew that as a single mom again, that I could not have an income that did this, that was market driven. I had to have steady Eddie. And one day, I don't even remember what drove me to make the decision. I don't even really remember when I did it. I just applied for nursing school. Like out of nowhere, just, okay, let's do this thing. And I feel like it's really where God wanted me to be. I mean, while I was my mother's guardian, I was asked frequently, "Are you in healthcare?" And I'm like, "No, I'm in real estate." Not even close. Not even in the realm. But so I went into nursing. I got into all the classes I needed to get into first shot. A lot of people had to wait semesters to get in. I got right in. I skated right into all of it. I had to take a lot of prerequisitions, and I was 40 when I started, had just turned 40. And, it was a lot. It was a whole lot. And so I went to nursing school, had 3 small children. Trevor was 7. And then the 2 littles, I was very much a single parent. Their father had to be supervised. And so I had little to no break from my kids. So probably a little bit of a psychopath. We're just going to be honest. I was probably a little crazy, but I did really well in school. My first semester on the floor as a nursing student, I ended up working with the doctor that was my mom's oncologist.
Oh.
He saw me and started to cry and said, I knew it. 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 I could have called it Dr. Connor. And yeah. And so when I was in nursing school, I thought, you know what? I want to do labor and delivery or oncology, oncology in honor of my mother, because I was very active with Relay for Life in McKinney, and either oncology or labor and delivery. I'm either going to go really sad or really happy. I don't know which one I'm going to do. And somewhere or another, I ended up on a cardiac unit working as a student. And I had this affinity for it that I didn't think I'd had. In school, it scared me to death. But in practical application, I loved it, and ended up going and ended up working on that very unit. I ended up being a registered nurse on a cardiac PCU. It was hard. School was probably one of the hardest things I've ever done, was nursing school with 3 small kids. And trying to remain active in their lives and stay active in church. We did fall out of church and fell away from that for a while. At that time, in my 2nd semester of nursing school, Brighton, my daughter, was diagnosed with a kidney disease.
Oh gosh.
So, but God puts you where you're supposed to be, is all I can say. And what's that saying? God doesn't call the equipped, he equips the called.
Yeah, pretty well. Yeah.
And that was
Yeah.
very much my situation. He was equipping me to take care of her. My call to go into nursing, I didn't understand. I just did it. But he was equipping me to take care of Brighton. And that all played out later in life. But I worked at Medical City of Plano on a cardiac PCU for almost 8 years, and then went to work at a physician-owned surgery center in Dallas, which was, again, also probably the best thing I could have done. Some days it was gravy. It was like this super easy job at first. And then we started adding more physicians, and it got insane. And I was like, wow, this isn't fun anymore. This is hard. But when Brighton's kidneys failed in January of 2016, right before her 16th birthday, that's where I was working. And I was blessed to be there, because I think had I been at a larger facility, they would not have taken care of me like I was taken care of at Pine Creek. They held my position as long as they could. When I was going to have to go on COBRA insurance, all the docs pitched in and covered my insurance. It was really an exceptional situation, and I was incredibly blessed to be there. Brighton being in the hospital, we thought was going to be something that was just going to be a couple weeks, and I'd go right back to work. 7 years later, right?
Whoa.
I didn't work for 7 years.
Wow.
Yeah, I couldn't. Her and Kelly's very aware. We'd sail along. We'd go a few weeks completely uneventful. She had dialysis after her kidneys failed in 2016. She had dialysis at first. It was 4 days a week at Cook Children's in Fort Worth, and we live in Forney. And that was a road trip. And sometimes she wouldn't respond well to it. Then we'd end up being admitted, or she'd end up in the hospital, or the graft would clot, or this would happen, or that would happen. And she was very, very complicated. And my years of nursing really came in handy. I advocated, man, did I advocate for that kid. Fought for her. Fought for that kid. Her poor brothers, my oldest son, Trevor, ended up, thank God, he was at SFA and had quit, and I was not pleased about him quitting, partly because I paid cash for him to be there. But he quit, and thank God he did, because he was able to step in and stay here with Daniel, who is my youngest, the redheaded one, while I was with Brighton all the time.
That's
and it
great.
was all the time, and it was very stressful. There were a lot of shenanigans with her father. Um, there were it was a tough 7 years. Daniel, I think, got angry for a while. I had some discipline issues with the redheaded kid. Um, but the whole time I felt my faith getting stronger. And you've heard that saying, like, what is it saying? It's something like, you don't understand faith until faith is all you have.
Ah.
And that was absolutely where I was at that time. No idea how bills were getting paid. No idea how anything was going to happen. Not a clue in this world. It like manna from heaven,
Mm-hmm.
just survived. And that went on for 7 years. Yeah.
That
And
is amazing. So where is she now?
she
How'd it
passed.
turn out? Okay. All
She
right.
passed in July of 2022.
All
It was
right.
very, very, very sudden. Um, Incredibly sudden. Like the night before, we had a pillow fight in the living room and gone to Hobby Lobby and Wendy's and laughed and cut up and had a great night. And it's not like it was one of those things where she'd been very sickly and then, she rallied. Like
Mm.
she just went. Daniel and I did CPR for 14 minutes before EMS arrived. Um, it was a lot. I realized some of the things that I did while we were doing that. I was in absolute shock. No other word for it. I was in shock. I couldn't believe. I was like, how is this happening? That was the second time had to give her CPR.
Yeah.
Kelly
Well, your
remembers
training
time
kicked
number
in.
one.
Your
Hmm?
training.
The first time was at my house.
The first time was at her house. She had just gotten
Wow.
out of
She had just
ICU
gotten out of the pool
and she vagaled
or
down
was
and
in the
she
pool.
held her breath to get her hair
Mhm.
wet and vagaled down. Heather's a physical therapist, so I know, yeah. And it's when, like, it's funny, it's a weird way to explain it, but like when you push really hard to poop and then you get a little dizzy, or you
Yeah.
hold your breath and you get a little dizzy, that's a vasovagal reaction. And
Yeah.
and she just passed out. And we got her out of the water and I had to do CPR on Kelly's pool deck. It was lovely.
Wow.
Lovely. And Daniel's the one that had to fish her out of the water. Poor Daniel. But Daniel's my one that's now an EMT. Yeah. He's the kid I thought I was going to be bailing out of jail is an EMT now.
Thank goodness they grow up. That's all I gotta say.
Yes.
Thank goodness they grow up. There is
That one, I
always
was like, son, you're trying my salvation on the daily. You're testing my salvation. After she passed, I ended up, the economy is what it is. And I ended up having to go back to work full time and did this 911 nurse navigation, which was, honest to God, the craziest job I've ever had in my whole life. It was the most insane jobs. We had contracts in DC and Seattle and in the Atlanta suburbs, and we got some interesting phone calls. But I will say that it was the most toxic work environment I've ever been in, ever, which is probably not a healthy place for me to have been directly on the heels of my daughter's passing.
Mhm.
There were some things that I realized that I was doing, but I didn't realize them until this past year. So that's part of this whole like
Yes, we're gonna get to
awakening.
that juicy stuff.
Yes.
Yes. You want me to
So
go?
who is Janet? Who is Janet a year ago?
A year ago, I
Mhm.
was depressed but denying it. I was grieving but denying it. Because I've been dealing with grief my whole life. Lost my dad, lost my mom, lost my
Right.
grandparents, lost my dad. Yeah, lost everybody. And I was like, I'm an ace. I'm an expert at grieving. But I was not. And yeah, I was grieving. I was spending money that I did not have on things that I do not need, like clothing. I have the most ludicrous amount of shoes. Why? I don't even know. It was that need to feel like I had to keep up with the Joneses, and I needed to keep up appearances, and people wouldn't like me if I wasn't, again, dressed the right way, looking the right way, doing the right thing. Um, and one day, I think Kelly and I talked about this. I'd been praying, God, why am I this way? Why am I like this? And I was unloading the dishwasher as one does. and felt like God talked to me and reminded me of me being made fun of as a kid
Mm-hmm.
for the fact that I didn't have the same clothes as everybody else. And I was a cheerleader and I didn't have the same shoes or the hair things or anything else that anybody else did because mom would not spend that money on me. Did she spend it on my sister? She sure did. But would she spend it on me? No. And so I felt this need to overcompensate. And I was like, oh my gosh. It's the weirdest epiphany to have over your dishwasher. And so in yeah, so that was one epiphany. And I can't remember if that was Lent that spawned that, if it was just this random praying that I was doing. But during Advent of this past year, I did some very hardcore praying. God, why am I the way I am? And, please make me not, I don't really want to be this way all the time. And that's when I had the epiphany that or that's when I felt like he spoke to me and said, you are grieving. You are depressed. You are, you're so busy pretending that you're not. I was so busy pretending that I was okay and I was not at all okay.
Mm-hmm.
Not at all okay.
So what differences do you feel you have changed, like in your identity to get you where you are today?
So one of the things that I did, which seemed silly, but it was very effective. I had been on social media. I'd had a small business that I started while Brighton was sick called Bright Revival. I made wreaths, did things like that. And I'd been just on social media all the time. And one of the things that I saw was some people doing something called no spenduary. So no spending except on necessities, obviously your bills and groceries for the airy months, January and February. And I was like, I can get down with that. And then I thought about how my word of the year that I chose for myself was stewardship. Because I don't feel like I had been a good steward of the gifts that I'd been given. I had most definitely not been a good steward of the funds that I was given or that I was making. The other thing I did was really cut out social media. Really abstained a lot from social media. I started cutting out those influences. I started cutting out the noise. I really started trying to cut out the noise. You're not enough. Your house is not enough. Your clothes are not enough.
Right.
You need this, this, and this. Everything has to be insta perfect, and it does not. And it was really cutting out that noise for me that made such a big difference. Because even the other day, I went on like Instagram or whatever, and then the next thing I know, an hour had passed.
Easy. So easy.
Like, what is happening? And there was other stuff that was happening. There's a lot of negativity. There's a lot of people that seem to want to live in an echo chamber. If you don't believe what I believe, then we can't be friends. And I was like, known you for 30 years. How can you, what? Like, friendship's decades old.
Mm-hmm.
That people that I've known and served in positions with that were saying this. So it isn't just like super close friends. These are people that I have served on committees with and been involved with, elbow deep in the trenches with. And that was their entire attitude. And I was like, what is even happening? I need to get away from this. And I have, and I feel like a very different human. Those things that were once so incredible, the stuff that was once so important to me, the value that I had placed on other people's opinions, the weight that I had carried of other people's opinions. Those are things that I feel like I've really, really let go of. And occasionally they'll pop up, that little voice, that little devil on your shoulder. Like he'll pop up and I'll feel myself getting sucked in. And then I'm like, nope, we're pulling away. And I've pulled away from I think as Kelly would say, I've changed my environment some. I've spent a lot of time in, but not like my physical environment. I'm still in the same house. I have a new job that I started December of last year. and I'm working for a company that is it's a healthcare company that is very Christian based. Like the whole mission statement is to extend the healing ministry of Jesus Christ. Like that's our whole mission statement. And I love that. My coworkers are amazing. Do we get flustered sometimes? Yeah, we do. I mean, now I'm working in the tech end of healthcare. Never in 1,000 years thought I'd be there. Never in 1,000 gazillion bazillion years did I think I'd be in IT, but I am. What is it? I'm a clinical informatics system analyst.
That's a
Ooh.
mouthful.
Okay.
I know, aren't I special? But I did have to start on the very bottom level, which has affected my income, and which is some of the reason that I've had to do some adjusting. But I feel like God has been using this to humble me some, and to like look at and focus more on the things that are important to me. And it's the relationships, it's my kids, it's my friends, but also it's peace. Peace has become very important to me.
So do you feel like that's what triggered you to start your change?
I think what triggered me to start the change is I didn't particularly like the person I saw in the mirror. Like the person I really saw in the mirror. You know what I mean? I was like, oh, it's going to sound so conceited. I still have great hair. Like I'm not aging as much as some of my friends are. I'll take that as a win, and aren't I great? And I still have straight teeth, and that's great. Okay, but that's aesthetics. And I knew that I had a good heart.
Mm-hmm.
I've always known that I had a really good heart, but I was so concerned about what other people thought of me and what that aesthetic was. I wasn't worried about what God thought about me. I was worried about what everybody else thought about me. And I think that's the big change that I've made. And it feels like a weight has been lifted.
What's so interesting is when you sit back and really think about that, and when you fully realize just how much people do not think about you, that's a game changer.
Right.
They're busy about thinking about themselves. They're busy about doing their own people-pleasing thing. They really don't think about you.
Right. And then, Reggie, you're fine. Sorry, whining dog. He needs me. I need to please him, the little fur dog.
Our fur babies.
But realizing that I have how much catering I've done to other people to keep other people happy was a big awakening I had at the end of 2025. And Advent was a big deal. There was a lot that happened, I feel like, in my heart during Advent of last year when I was really focused and doing some fasting, and then I fasted again. And it's really funny. My Lenten observance for the past 2 years is to not be a jerk.
Oh, wow.
Actually, my exact words were not to be an a-hole, is to, and that meant in like every area, like don't criticize people. And I'll catch myself, I go, ooh, I'm doing it. Sorry, God. Sorry, I'm doing it. And that need to criticize, that's the other thing. The need to criticize other people to make myself feel better. And that's part of what I saw in myself that I did not like.
Do you feel like that was brought on a lot from the example that you had from your mother?
Oh, yeah, for sure. And I was always trying to boost myself by bringing other people down.
Yeah.
So I think that's absolutely what I was doing. And it's awful. And I don't like that. And that was what I was seeing in the mirror. And I did not like that at all. I was like, I don't like it. And hence the reason that I've stayed off social media. And I'm not going to get sucked in. I will not allow myself to get sucked in. I can't. And I follow an app. I follow the Hallow app, which it's very, very Catholic. And I'm actually Methodist. So, I'm Catholic, extremely light, the very light end. But the prayer this Lenten season was something by Mother Olga. I'd never heard of her before, but she's this wonderful little woman. But the prayer is, empty me, fill me, use me. Yeah. And I felt like everything I'd done January through March, I had really emptied myself. Like I just emptied myself. And then I joined a Bible study at church for the first time in I don't know, 10 years since I've been in a church driven Bible study, and met an amazing group of women. Now, there was a lot of people. And when I first walked in there, I was like, oh, this is a lot of peopling. There's a whole lot of people in here. Don't know how I feel about this. But they set you at a table, and that was your table group. And it was so great. It was so diverse, different races, different backgrounds, different ages, different single moms, married people, old, young, Black, white, Hispanic. We were all over the map. And it was beautiful to get to see the perspective of all these other people, and also how very alike we are. But I felt like in that I had really I'd been filled back up. And I needed that. I had, on the Bright Revival page that I'd done a lot of Bible studies. I'd done a lot of praying for the people. In my younger life, I'd done a lot of volunteering, which I do miss, which I feel like that's the use me part. Mm-hmm. Like, God, use me, put me out there. You tell me, here I am, Lord, tell me where to go. But I also know myself and our, the other little experiment that I participated in with you guys.
Yeah, let's mention that.
Yes, so the Soul Matrix.
Yes, the Soul Matrix.
Invited you to take part in a live coaching program called the Soul's Matrix.
Yes.
It's a time to really get to know yourself, see how you operate, see how you communicate, really see who you are and how other people see you.
Mm-hmm.
And so I know you have your little chart.
Yes, I do. Yes.
Bring it way up to the camera. We're not going to be able to see.
You're not going to be able to totally read, but you can see the dots on this. So it's like an XY axis. And in this one, I was pretty balanced. I was kind of really balanced, but boy, howdy. We got over here. I was like, wow, Janet. And Kelly would ask me questions, and I'd just start giggling. I was like, well, we know where that one's going.
Right. Mm-hmm. It's such a great opportunity to really take a good look at yourself. And the questions are meant to be thought-provoking, but also a little bit like, wow, smack you in the face, going, there's no ands, if, or buts about it. That's where I lie. And if anybody is listening, we do have the whole program that will be live on our website soon, so you could take that yourself. It's a really great
it's
way
very
to
cool.
find
and
it.
It's much more part of what I loved about it, y'all. And because I've been in the professional world for years and years. I've done like the Myers-Briggs.
Yeah.
I've done the Enneagram thing. I've done the blah, blah, blah. But these questions were really like, I think they got more to the core of who you are. Does that make any sense?
I love it. Mm-hmm. Yes, that's exactly what it was meant to do.
Yeah. And it very much looked into your soul. And am I a commander director? Yeah. little bit, a lot. A lot. Which is one of the reasons it's always hard for me to volunteer, because I do tend to take on that leadership role. I think it's just my personality. It's the fact that I'm controlling, and we need to go this way, friends, and let's do this. Yeah. But I'm also, and I do agree, that's one of the reasons this is balanced this way, is because I do tend to also be very creative. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I do lean in that creative space.
Right. It's a great way to see where your tendencies are. Mm-hmm. The goal is to be able to play in all 4 quadrants.
And I do, I think.
Mm-hmm. But we have a tendency to be one over all the others. So coming out of that, connect it with the year that you had, mm-hmm. and how it further allowed you to see a little bit deeper to where you were connecting the dots even more, and how that then spurred some more changes. What were those changes?
So, part of this, my whole Lenten thing, don't be a jerk, don't be an a-hole. This helped me to look at some of the personalities of the other people around me
Ah,
and help me to give them a little bit of grace where normally I don't.
yeah. Understanding.
Yeah, a lot of understanding of the other personalities. Um and it helped me bring into focus some areas that I may need to tone down
Yes.
a little. Yeah, some areas that I needed to tone down a little in my own self. I think in the leadership, I don't know if that whole commander director leadership thing came because I felt most of my life I was kind of on my own.
Right. Some of it was survival.
Some of it, right, it was survival for sure. So there
Hmm.
was a lot of survival, which I think is some of that commander director in me was survival.
Yeah.
Was absolute survival. And I realized there's some other I wish I was more peacemaker companion. I wish I was more, and I tend to be. I do, and it's really funny because I think as a leader, I did also tend to be the peacekeeper
Right.
very often. I tended to be that bridge.
Hmm.
Like, okay, you calm down over here and you calm down over here, and then let's come together and let's figure this out. And that part of me, I was like, wow, that's really funny because I didn't realize I was that way. But I want to be a little bit more that way and less controlling.
Hmm. Without going to the people pleaser side of it.
Right.
Right.
Without going right. I want to stand my ground. And it's really
Hmm.
funny because
Hmm.
my boss, well, okay, she's my team lead, but technically she's my direct report. She and I've worked together for a very long time. We worked together on the cardiac unit. We worked together at the physician and surgery center. She was already, though, at that time on the analyst side. I was still nursing. And she brought me in. She said, like, she fought to get me into this position because I was coming in with no experience as an
Hmm.
analyst, zero experience. And she said she brought me in because she knew I would stand my ground. She knew that I would not be pushed around. I wouldn't allow the team to be pushed around because our particular team deals directly with the providers. They're not physicians anymore, they're providers.
Hmm.
So our team deals directly with the providers. And so she knew that I was going to have to be in there with the providers and I was going to have to go toe to toe with them sometimes because they want things that's not safe. I love that you want that. But we're also a large organization. We have over 30 hospitals. Over 30 hospitals, over 49 ERs. Like it's a big healthcare system. And yeah, y'all can't go rogue, and we need to look at and she also knows I'm very much an advocate for the patients. And it was just such a great place for me. And it's made me think every time I get frustrated about the fact that I'm not making what I was making before, I realize how much more healthy my environment is.
God puts you where you're supposed to be.
100%. And so even though I haven't physically changed my environment, I've changed so much about what I'm allowing to feed me, if that makes any sense.
So you've changed your energy.
I've totally changed my energy, 100%.
Okay. Yes. Yes.
Totally
And
changed my
so you're actually taking that energy and putting it where you want it to be.
Yes.
So how does that feel? Like the difference between having to do something and choosing to do something.
You know what? It's uncomfortable in a good way. Does that make any sense?
Hmm.
Mhm.
It's uncomfortable because I'm very used to that people pleasing side.
Hmm.
Mhm.
I'm very used to doing things that people want me to do, and I do them, and usually it's under duress, and I'm not happy about it. And it puts me in a mood, and I don't want to be in a mood. I want to do things joyfully and gladly. And I'm finding now that I am doing more things joyfully and gladly. And things that I used to want to go do all the time are not as important to me anymore. They
So you're
don't.
setting boundaries.
I am setting boundaries a lot. And it's really funny. I think the kids thought as an empty nester that I was going to be devastated and I'd be all depressed.
No
And
way.
I
It's
know.
the greatest thing.
I am like, woohoo! Like I can cook what I want to cook and eat what I want to eat. And strangely, the house is always clean. And but I mean, I've never had peace. I've created my own chaos a lot. I'd say in my 20s, I was the creator of my own chaos
Oh yeah, for
for
sure.
sure.
Mhm.
Yeah, I look back at that and I'm like, yeah, that you did that. Yeah, we're not blaming it on anybody else. You did that too. Nope, you did that. You made those choices. You did that. And
It starts to get you into your own accountability.
yes,
And
very much
that's
so.
huge
And
because no matter what, you are 100% responsible for your life. I don't even
right,
care what happened. You are responsible 100% for it.
right. And it's so funny because
Mhm.
I've always like ridden on people that like try to use the excuse, I was abused, so therefore it's okay that I blah blah blah. No, it's not.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that's that epiphany that my dishwasher epiphany that I had
Yeah. Yeah.
was like, I've worked hard for this money, I'm going to spend it. And I feel like God was like, but one, you don't have it. And two, you don't need to.
Mm-hmm.
You've always been trying to please everybody and go so far above and beyond in areas that I didn't need to because I didn't think people would like me if I didn't have or look a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
If I
Right.
didn't have the certain things or look the certain way. And I was like, wow, are those even people I want to have anything to do with? No. And that's that environment changing. It's that shift in, okay, I don't need to do that. And if that's what I'm worried about, like I caught myself doing that a couple times going to that Bible study. Like I needed to get dressed. I was like, why? Half the people in there were in there in sweats. You know what I mean? They came straight from work. And so I was like, why do I care about this? And then I crack up because the one weekend I opened, we met on St. Patrick's Day, and my group was in charge of food, and we had to do green food. That was a challenge because it was supposed to be a potluck dinner and green food. Right. So, and I made a pasta that was like really, really good. I told Kelly about it. It had like
Mhm.
pasta. So I know she's not really doing pasta, but it had the sauce was avocado, olive oil, basil, lemon, and garlic. It
Oh
was
yeah.
so good, but whatever. But I made that, I did that. And I went to get a sweatshirt. I knew I had St. Patrick's Day shirts and I went to get a sweatshirt out. I had three. Who on this earth? Why? Why? Why do I have three St. Patrick's Day? You know what I mean? It's that kind of thing. I was like, why did I need that? Why did I do that? Why? And it's funny now looking back on that stuff. And it hasn't even been a year. I mean, I'm looking back going, what was wrong with you, Janet?
Here's a beautiful thing that we say all the time is you don't have to be the same person that you were 5 minutes ago, five
One,
days ago, 5 years ago at all.
right.
You can look back and go, wow,
Well,
that
and
was me,
also I
not
think
that now.
it's the reality of realizing that it was okay
Right.
for me to be sad and to grieve.
Yeah.
I don't always have to be so dadgum strong.
Yeah.
No.
And I've always felt like I needed to be so strong. And there's, some things. There's one big thing that I have not done since Bridie passed, and it has been eating me alive. And I'm gonna take care of that. And in this stewardship and in this changing my thinking patterns and my spending patterns, because I think my spending has been the biggest sign of depression. Some people eat, some people drink, some people pop Xanax like it's candy, some people smoke weed, some people eat gummies, some people do things. I shopped.
Mhm.
And okay, and I did some eating too. But I think some of that came from also running 20 to 25,000 steps a day, going down to sitting at my daughter's bedside all the time.
Sure.
I think it completely changed my metabolism.
And
Absolutely changed.
Janet, this is what I love about this is that you have awakened.
Oh,
You are
100%.
awakening to everything that you have been doing. You're acknowledging it
Mhm.
and you're saying it out loud, which is fabulous
Yeah, and
because
a whole lot of it's just own it.
Right.
Just own it. And, but it's also like the thing I used to gripe at everybody about. Okay, you see the behavior and you dislike the behavior. Why are you doing the behavior? And you hear people say it all the
Exactly.
time. Well, it's all I know. It's how I grew up. It's all I know. No, no, it's not okay. You know, because I was always like, I'm never going to be that way with my kids. Well, my sister and I've both gone, whoop, the total. What do y'all want? You want Abercrombie and American Eagle and Nike and Under Armour? And sure, we'll go.
Right. Absolutely.
Right.
No.
What the heck, man. And we went the completely opposite of our mom. But there were times, and we both joke that we find ourselves channeling our mother. I'll do stuff and go, "Oh, it was very penny of me,
Mm-hmm.
very penny thing to do."
So who do you think you're becoming?
I'm becoming Janet.
Mm.
I'm
Who's
becoming
Janet?
myself.
Yes.
Who's Janet?
Yeah.
And
Who is
I'm still
Janet?
learning. I have been mom. I have been wife. I've been daughter. I've been an astronomical screw up. I have been, I've been a nurse. I've been, the wreath lady. I've been all these other things. And I'm finally learning who I am.
Okay.
And,
So,
I'm starting to like myself, but go ahead.
okay, you are starting to like yourself a lot, which I have seen. And every time I would open up Facebook or I would open up Instagram and I'd go, wow, Janet hadn't been here in a long time.
She has
And I'm
not.
like,
Janet has.
yes, this is wonderful.
I have not. And I have talked to the ladies on my Facebook business page, and we are going to start another Bible study. I have 3 books in my Amazon cart right now that I want to look at, because I also think we need to be realistic because we're doing it online. And we did pick a book that I think was required. Well, one, we were doing it during the holidays. What were we thinking? And so everybody was busy and pulled 50 different directions, and yeah. But I found 3 that I want to look at. And then I'm
Good.
going to go back to leading those on my business page, but I'm only doing it one day a week.
Good for you.
I will do
Right.
it one day a week. I'm not going to give it because I was giving it a lot of time. I was trying to follow that daggum algorithm and post 3 times a day. I'm not about that life. I mean, and I still have, and God has blessed me. I still have 17,000 followers over there. And I don't even really know why.
Awesome.
So
Now,
great.
not on Instagram. I don't even think I've got 300 on Instagram.
Okay. So do you think that you're going to do something more with Bright Revival?
I
I mean, do
am,
you
but
see
I think I'm
yourself
going to,
accomplishing something like that, like in
I
years to
do.
come?
Right. And I don't see it as being an income driver. I see it as being a way for me to give back. I think I've looked at some things like starting a 501c3 and in Brighton's name, but I have an issue that other people don't have. And because I've thought about starting a charity and I thought about like advocating for people, but I have an issue. I'm a nurse and I have to watch giving medical advice.
Mm.
And I was like, that's a liability. And I don't, so I want to figure out how I can use that without it being a liability. Because I was immediately, my knee-jerk reaction is, I'm going to go be an advocate for families and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, ugh. But I'm a nurse and I have a license and I could be held to, right. And yeah, I have to, because, and it's so sad to have to think that way, but it's because people are so happy.
Yeah, you'll figure it out.
And I'll figure it out.
Well,
I want to do something, and I want to do something in Brighton's honor, but that's the reason that I want to keep Bright Revival alive. So won't be doing the same things. I mean, occasionally I might make stuff on there, but not really. If I make stuff now, I make it because I want to make it. Like I painted some cheap plastic flower pots the other day, and that was really fun for me until I hit it with the sealant and smeared the paint. That was great.
you love the crafty stuff. I'll
It's
let
character.
you do the crafty stuff.
Thank you. I do enjoy it, but it got to where it wasn't fun because it was work.
So if you could give some advice, one piece of advice to our listeners about beginning their own journey, what would it be?
Not listen to my dog whine is one thing. It would be to take the time to sit with yourself
Mm.
and to learn who you are without the outside influence. Is to really learn. Don't worry about pleasing anybody else. Don't worry about what other people think about you. To really look at yourself and look at what you surround yourself with.
Mm.
Where you spend your time, where you spend, who you spend your time with. I think it's that has been important for me. Those friends that are always negative all the time, I've steered away from, because I do lean empathic and I will take on their emotions.
Gotcha. That's some great advice. Well, gosh, we are so
Yes.
thankful that you came on.
Thanks, y'all. It was fun.
So
Reggie.
Thank
great.
you. Thank you.
Sorry.
Thank you so much.
No, thank you. Reggie, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Reggie, you
now spend the
cannot
time with
be
your
on
fur babies.
screen.
Right. And so if that's in the background the whole time, he's probably because he hears Kelly's voice and he's like, I should be on her lap.
We'll put a disclaimer
That's-
out. If you
Put a
happen to hear,
disclaimer.
no animals have been harmed in
No
this.
animals have been harmed. He's literally like my hand is on him.
Oh.
So needy. But you guys are wonderful. And I love what you're
Thank you.
doing. And I love that that you're incorporating all belief systems, and it's not because I think getting to know, I think the other little piece of advice is get to see yourself how Christ sees you.
Mm.
Mm.
Learn that's it. Okay, yeah, see that? I should have said that. That would be way better. Sorry. I messed up the
Oh, that
edit,
was
Heather.
good too.
Sorry. But yeah, learn to see yourself how God in Christ sees you, and don't worry about the outside. Quiet that outside noise.
Yeah.
Wow. That's a great way to end this podcast. Thank you so much, Janet.
No, thank
Really
you.
appreciate it.
I love what y'all are doing. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you. Thank
Okay.
you very much.
Bye, y'all.
Thanks everybody for joining us. Remember to like and subscribe and visit our website, kellynewland.com, and have a great week.